Let's talk about milk supply while breastfeeding. Now, there's two different mechanisms that go on initially as far as the milk supply for the breast. So the initial event that triggers breast milk coming in is the fall in hormones after you deliver. Now that happens whether you're breastfeeding or not. So for instance, for women that are bottle feeding, the breast milk will still come in on day 2 or 3, even though you're not putting a baby to the breast because your hormones still fall. So that's what initiates the milk response. What potentiates it, in other words, what keeps the milk coming, is a hormone called prolactin. And so when the baby suckles on the breast, that produces a stimulus to the brain to make something called prolactin, which is the hormone that then tells the breast to make more milk. And so the more the baby suckles, the more milk that will be made. And so the initial response of the milk coming in has to do with the fall of the hormones after delivery. But the hormone that makes the milk continue is called prolactin, and that's really responsive to the baby suckling. And the more the baby suckles, the more milk will be produced. And there's really a supply and demand thing. So as the baby demands more milk, the body will supply it. There is, however, a bit of a lag, and there's about a 24-hour lag between the request for milk and the body's ability to produce it. And so you're going to find that your baby is going to go through these little growth spurts where things seem to be going fine with breastfeeding, and all of a sudden the baby just seems fussy and mad, like the baby's not getting enough milk. And what's happening is the baby's going through a growth spurt and requiring more milk, and then your body's lagging about 24 hours to be able to produce it. And that's going to be 24 hours we're going to have a grouchy, hungry kid, but that's okay. You don't have to feel the need to supplement with formula. You certainly can if you want, but there's really no need to. This is all natural. It's the way it's supposed to be. The baby's not going to starve to death. But just so you understand, that's how it works. And so there's this sort of supply and demand, and it takes a little while to crank up the machinery in the breast to make more milk when the baby demands it. Now, this mechanism is also important to understand that, again, the more suckling, the more breast milk. And so if you have twins, for instance, you're certainly capable of producing enough breast milk for twins. You're going to have twice as much suckling. Your body's going to produce twice as much milk. And so that's generally the way it works. In fact, it's interesting. There was a law in the 17th century in France for wet nurses, and they were not allowed to breastfeed more than 4 babies at one time. And the reason I find that interesting is it shows you that the human body is certainly capable of producing that type of quantity of milk. And so your breast can produce as much milk as necessary. You don't have to worry that your breasts aren't going to produce enough milk. There's plenty of milk there for the baby, or even 2 babies or more. Once you have more than 2 babies, though, it becomes really a time issue, not a production issue. I mean, you really have time to breastfeed that many children. But so you don't have to worry that your breasts aren't going to be able to make the milk. But again, there may be a little bit of a lag. So if you feel like your baby is going through a growth spurt, hang in there, maybe 24 hours of discomfort, but eventually your body will catch up and be able to make plenty of milk.